5 people are dead, including 4 young children. The father is in police custody.
This morning when they got here, they found the house filled with smoke and they found 6 people inside. The mother.
Friends, if your spouse cheated on you, what would you do? And if you and your spouse had 4 children and she cheated on you, does that make a difference on how you would react? Today's story will look at a father who did the unthinkable. As men, we are defined by the decisions we make when we are under duress. It's these moments that separates men from boys. You see, Jordan, who was 53, and his wife Tabasha, who was 30, they met at a community college in Bakersfield, California, after getting out of the Navy. She married him despite knowing he had been sentenced to 20 years in prison for molesting 3 young girls under the age of 14 in Sacramento County. Dirty bastard. Jordan Criado moved his family to Oregon to get away from his wife's family. She went to another local community college and he worked out of his home fixing cars. Now, on the 18th of July 2011, Jordan Criado, he called 911 to report his wife was missing. Officer Melgren responded to the residence at about 5 a.m. and learned from Jordan that Tabasha Criado had gone out with a female friend to a bar the night before and had not returned home. The residence was at 1027 West 10th in Medford, Oregon, which was in Jackson County. Jordan Criado told police that he tried to reach her by phone, but Tabasha did not answer. At the time, the officer, Melgren, spoke to Jordan. The 4 children were running around the house and it appeared that they had been awake all night. Officer Melgren walked throughout the house and backyard to make sure Tabasha was not in the residence. He entered the house through the front door and went through the back door sliding glass door into the backyard. Jordan removed a large stick from the glass slider to allow the back door to be opened. Jordan appeared concerned and frustrated about his wife not being home. He told Officer Melgren he and Tabasha were not having any relationship issues. Jordan had the address of Tabasha's friend, Tambry Smith, so Jordan loaded the 4 children into his vehicle and had Officer Melgren follow him over to Tambry's residence. She reported to Officer Melgren that they had been at a local bar and had met some other people and gone to a male's house. She stated that Tabasha was in the process of separating from Jordan and wanted a divorce. This is key because Jordan claimed we don't have any problems, but from Tabasha's side, they had problems. She did not have the address of the male's house, only a general description and area. Officer Melgren told Jordan to go home and he would start looking in the area for Tabasha. As police were looking in the area, Tabasha called the police. She said she was in the parking lot of the Minute Market in Oakdale. Officer Bridges met Tabasha at the Minute Market. Both Officer Bridges and Officer Melgren spoke with Tabasha. Tabasha told him that she had an affair and she had just told her husband. She said that she needed a break from her husband. She stated that Jordan had called her 30 times last night, so she turned her phone off. And so far in this story, I can kind of understand Jordan's behavior. His wife isn't coming home. Where is she? Where is she? He's obviously concerned. And then she contacts him and she tells him, by the way, I just cheated on you. Again, I ask you, if this was your husband or if this was your wife at this very moment, how do you think you would react? Tabasha asked for a ride home and indicated she would be fine. Officer Bridges left Tabasha at her residence. Tabasha never said anything to the officers to indicate she was concerned for her safety and did not ask police for any further assistance. When detectives spoke to Tambry, She stated that Jordan had called her numerous times that evening. In one of those conversations, he said to her, "You better hope she's not having an affair," referring to his wife, Tabasha. Tambry also told police that Tabasha was very open about leaving her husband. Detectives identified the male that Tabasha had spent the night with. He told police that she had spent the night at his residence and in the morning he was going to give her a ride home. Tabasha told him that morning that police were looking for her and she phoned 911 to tell them, "I'm not in any danger." He told police that Tabasha also called Jordan and told him that she had an affair. He stated that Jordan was extremely angry and vocal on the other end of the phone call. He stated that Tabasha then hung up the phone and asked him to take her to the Minute Market. Now, during the investigation, police were able to track down witnesses that observed Jordan at a gas station. The receipt would later indicate that the time was 6:32 a.m. The witness said that Jordan had stated to them that his wife had been out in the bars and didn't come home. He appeared very angry. It was determined that when Officer Melgren told Jordan to go home, he stopped for gas. Police then received a 911 call of a house fire at the 1027 residence. This was at 9:24 a.m. When police first arrived at the residence, the front door was locked and the back sliding door was not able to be opened fully. Police could see flames and heavy smoke in the residence. As firefighters forced entry, they found the front door was dead bolted and a couch had been moved to block the front door. Firefighters also located a wooden dowel in the glass sliding door. The firefighters found Tabasha, who was 30 at the time, her children Isaac, who was 6, Elijah, who was 7, Andrew, who was 5, and Aurora, who was 2. They also found Jordan, all of them, in the master bedroom. One firefighter reported that Jordan was holding a large knife when firefighters found him. During the initial searches at the residence, 3 knives were located in the master bedroom. Those knives were a large kitchen knife, a steak knife, and a paring knife. The Oregon State Police Crime Lab examined those knives for latent prints. The large knife Jordan was seen holding by the firefighters contained blood on the blade. DNA analysis done by the Oregon State Police Crime Lab matched that blood to Jordan. The steak knife and paring knife located in the master bedroom did not have any blood detective on them. So what is going on? There's many incidences that have occurred. His wife has gone missing. He doesn't know where she is. He gets police involved. Turns out she's actually alive. But now they've been called to the house because of a fire? What actually happened? Well, it wasn't till a few months later a knife was recovered from an upper bunk bed between the mattress and the railing in the children's bedroom. This was on the 30th of December 2011. The knife had been photographed by the police at the time of the initial searches but inadvertently not collected. Fire inspectors determined that the fire at the residence was a result of arson. The investigation revealed that there were 4 separate fires located in 4 separate locations of the residence. Fire inspectors concluded that the fire burned for 15 to 20 minutes. All windows in the house were intact, and many had a plastic material covering them which stopped the ventilation and growth of the fire. This allowed the fire to smolder but not become fully engulfed due to the lack of oxygen. The home suffered significant damage from the fire. In the kitchen, fire investigators determined that on the stove all the electric coils and the broiler were in one position. The smoke alarm in the kitchen had been removed from the wall and placed on the counter. The next fire was located in the dining room. A futon couch was set on fire. In the living room, the next fire was located on the couch that had been placed as a barricade to the front door. Fire investigators also located in the living room an empty gallon-sized can of olive oil with the lid removed and an empty deep fryer appliance. The walls of the living room had a splash pattern that was consistent with someone throwing a substance against it. Fire inspectors believed that this was an attempt to accelerate the fire. In the master bedroom was the 4th fire. It was started in the closet with a large amount of paper. Oil was throughout the master bedroom. Oil was located on the children's bedding and the furniture in the master bedroom. But then things took quite a sinister turn when the autopsy results came in the fire was not the only issue, and this is why I said this father did the unthinkable. Listen to this. An autopsy was performed on Tabasha Criado by Dr. James Olson, who was the deputy state medical examiner. He found that Tabasha had 2 stab wounds to the face, 2 stab wounds to the neck, and 10 stab wounds to the abdominal area. And for me, whenever I hear about multiple stab wounds, not 1 or 2, I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, that's where passion is involved. He was angry at her because she had an affair. The medical examiner noted that she had no defensive wounds to her arms, wrists, or hands. He further noted that she had long fingernails and no fingernails were broken. The cause of death was multiple stab wounds. The toxicology results showed a 0.03 alcohol and marijuana in her system, but no other controlled substances were found. She had a carbohemoglobin of less than 6%. This is a non-lethal level of carbon monoxide, and that is important because if you're in a fire, one would assume you would die in the smoke. It seems maybe she died before the fire began. Now I'm going to come on to the autopsy reports of the children, but make sure you keep listening because there is a sickening twist that Jordan creates to try and make himself look innocent. An autopsy was also performed on one of the children, Andrew. Andrew had sharp force injuries to the neck. The cause of death was homicidal asphyxiation by carbon monoxide poisoning due to smoke inhalation. The doctor's findings included non-lethal drug levels, potentially lethal stab wounds to the right side of the neck, and a non-lethal stab wound to the neck. An autopsy was also performed on Isaac. He had stab wounds to the neck and both wrists. The cause of death was ruled homicidal violence, probable asphyxiation by suffocation. He did not have lethal amounts of carbon monoxide. The next child, Elijah, his autopsy revealed that he had a stab wound to the back of his neck. The cause of death was ruled homicidal violence, probable asphyxiation by suffocation. He did not have lethal amounts of carbon monoxide. Finally, we come on to the youngest, Aurora. Her autopsy had no external or internal injuries. The cause of death was ruled homicidal violence, probable asphyxiation by suffocation. She did not have lethal amounts of carbon monoxide. However, testing from the Oregon State Police found that she had 50 milligram levels of melatonin in her blood, which is high for a child her age. Now, on August 2nd, 2011, Jordan was interviewed by police detectives at Rogue Valley Hospital. And before I get to the interview, let's summarize what just happened. He found that she's cheating. It seems he killed her first, then he started a fire, and in the process of starting a fire, he stabbed his children. This fucking moron. This is why I said at the beginning, when you're under pressure as a man, these are the moments that define you. During his interview, Jordan told police that he was caring for his children and Tambri's children. He stated that the children were up all night. He said that he called Tabasha and Tambri numerous times during the night. He told police that Tambri picked her children up, but Tabasha did not return. Jordan advised police that when he got home, he put all of the children in their beds in the children's rooms. He admitted that he gave each child a dose of melatonin. He stated he gave Isaac 3 tablets, Andrew 2 tablets, Elijah 3 tablets, and Aurora 2 tablets. Now, I ain't trying to sound like an idiot because each parent is different. Why are you giving your kids melatonin? My son is 3. I ain't ever given him none of those drugs. If you do it, that's fine. I'm just saying, from my point of view, you know what melatonin I give to my son? I put him on my chest and I rock him to bed, even though he's 3. Because that's what a father does. Jordan reported to the police that Tabasha told him that she woke up in someone's bed and thought she had been drugged with ecstasy. He stated after they had this conversation, he went out to the backyard to work on a vehicle. He exited the house through the back door. He claimed that he spoke to a neighbor while he was in the backyard. He said after being outside for a while, he got a feeling that something wasn't right. He entered the house through the back slider and saw fire in the kitchen. He then went into the master bedroom and saw Tabasha sitting and the children all laying down in the master bedroom. He claimed that the children were laying motionless and he saw some blood. He stated Tabasha was holding a knife. They struggled with the knife and he took it from her and he killed her. He then stated he obtained some olive oil from the kitchen and doused himself with the oil. He stated he could not remember pouring olive oil on the children or the walls. He stated he held each of the children and then laid them down. He could not remember what position the children were in on the mattress. He admitted to using paper to start the fire in the closet of the bedroom. When asked questions about specific things, he generally said, "I can't remember." This conversation took place for over an hour. Now, the most messed up thing he said, because he's a coward, is he told police the reason why Tabasha was holding a knife and they had a struggle is because Tabasha is the one that inserted the knife into the children. He tried to pin this on his wife. When detectives contacted the backyard neighbors, they both denied that they had spoken to Jordan on that date. One of the neighbors has dogs, which she told police that the dogs bark if the Criados are in the backyard. She did not recall her dogs barking that morning. Dr. Olson testified that given the lack of defensive wounds to Tabasha's arms and hands, there was no evidence of a struggle over a knife. In fact, the lack of defensive wounds would indicate that Tabasha was actually surprised by the attack. Detectives would have testified that Jordan Criado had faint cut marks on his inner upper left arm, described as hesitation marks. He had a deeper cut on his inner lower left wrist, which appeared to be self-inflicted. Police testified that the wooden dowel in the back door made it impossible to open the door very far. This wooden dowel would have been placed from someone inside the residence. So if you take the couch that was put in front of the door and this dowel, it seemed to the firefighters and the police that the whole thing was orchestrated and it wasn't just some accident. According to the police, it made no sense that he would have seen the fire in the kitchen and yet closed the slider and replaced the dowel. Firefighters reported that all 5 of the victims were laid out in the master bedroom. Police were able to determine that Andrew and Aurora were laying on the master bed. They were also able to determine that Elijah, Tabasha, and Isaac were laying on a mattress on the floor of the master bedroom, with Tabasha being between the 2 children. Tabasha had been very vocal with her family and friends that she planned to leave Jordan. Many of Tabasha's family members had openly discussed them divorcing with Jordan. Tabasha's stepfather told police that he had spoken to Jordan and Tabasha about 4 weeks before the homicides. At the time, Jordan told him he didn't want her to leave, he just wanted his family to stay together. Tabasha told her stepfather it was still her plan to leave Jordan. Then police contacted Jordan's first wife. She told police that Jordan was very possessive and jealous. She stated that Jordan had threatened to kill her if she ever left him. For me as a man, that is the worst. There's so many cases where men have told other women, true crime cases, whatever it is, if you leave me, I'm going to take my own life. If you leave me, I'm going to kill you. How pathetic are you? She also told police that she divorced Jordan when he was in prison serving a sentence for sexually abusing a child. Now, as for the trial with Jordan and his family, the evidence indicated that Jordan was very angry that his wife had gone out and met another man. Jordan lied to the police when he told them that there were no issues in their relationship, when in fact Tabasha had been very candid with Jordan that she was going to end their marriage. Jordan had been told by Tabasha that she had spent the night with another man prior to her arriving home. Jordan had given each of the children a large dose of melatonin. The children were asleep in their own beds when Tabasha came home. Jordan stabbed his wife multiple times, killing her. She never had a chance to block any of the stab wounds. Jordan then went into the children's bedroom and moved the children into the master bedroom. He carried a knife with Tabasha's blood on it. He went into the children's bedroom and left the knife on one of the upper bunks when moving the children. He killed each of the children, laying them and Tabasha on the mattresses in the master bedroom. He took olive oil from the kitchen and splashed it all over the walls, himself, Tabasha, and the children. He also took an oil fryer and threw that oil on the walls of the living room. He believed the oil would be an accelerant. In a tearful and rambling statement, Jordan maintained that he had only killed his wife after she killed the children. But Jackson County Circuit Judge Lorenzo Mejia told him that he was delusional, and the evidence was overwhelming that he had murdered his family. The judge said, maybe you can't admit to yourself that you killed them, but it's clear that's what happened. He went on to say, you dishonor the memory of how good a father you were and dishonor the memory of your children by your insistence that she killed them. Prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty after Jordan entered what is known as Alfred guilty pleas to 5 counts of aggravated murder and 1 of arson. That meant he did not admit guilt but acknowledged there was enough evidence to convict him. He was actually sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. My conclusion on this story is, what does it mean to be a man? I can only tell you this story from the energy and the way I process it in my head, right? She obviously lost a lot of respect for him. She did not see him as a man anymore. This is one of the reasons why a woman would leave one man while married to him and have an affair. I'm not justifying the behavior. I'm trying to give you a context into the thought process. And it's the job of a man to make a woman feel special, to make her feel needed, to make her feel wanted. That's all a woman wants. She just wants to be listened to. I feel in the relationship, he stopped listening to her, he stopped making her feel wanted, and she lost respect for him. As harsh as a reality this is the reality for a man. It's your job to be in control. And I don't think Jordan was in control of his relationship. I say control, not controlling, I say control in a mature way. But then, to find out she's cheating, yes, you have the right to feel aggrieved, but you don't go and murder your children, you fucking imbecile. What a classless clown. Coward. Muppet moron. Anyway, comment, tell me what you think.